Second down and 4 to Taylor. Taylor explodes, makes a man miss to his right. Spin move, a beauty, inside the 30. High step into the 25, inside the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Jonathan Taylor, 46 yards.
Multiple sources indicated that Taylor Swift would not be performing at the upcoming Super Bowl halftime show, as reported negotiations between her team and the NFL reportedly collapsed after the league failed to meet her specific conditions for appearing on stage. Insiders familiar with the matter revealed, stating that Swift ultimately decided to walk away from the table when it became clear her requests would not be honored, with industry journalist Rob Shooter making public that the NFL had indeed approached Swift about headlining the event, but was not willing to fulfill the demands she laid out. And insiders clarified that the league's practice of not compensating halftime performers directly, rather, offering the chance for global exposure on one of the world's largest television stages, did not align with Swift's expectations, pointing out that, in their words, Taylor Swift doesn't need exposure. According to several individuals with knowledge of the discussions, Swift's requests included full ownership rights to her live halftime show performance, as well as advertising slots during the broadcast to promote her own projects. And when the NFL refused to accommodate these demands, the deal unraveled, with a music executive involved commenting that Swift was not seeking special favors, but instead was requesting a level of respect that matched her stature, and the executive added that Swift's influence was so extensive that her mere participation could drive ratings and capture worldwide attention, a sentiment echoed by another insider who stated that she wanted a deal that reflected her value. She wasn't about to hand that over for free. The same source asserted, without Taylor, it's just another halftime show, underscoring the belief among Swift's camp that her appearance would have elevated the event far beyond its usual impact. Historically, major artists ranging from Beyoncé to The Weeknd have appeared at the Super Bowl halftime show without direct payment, instead benefiting from the massive publicity the event brings. But Swift's willingness to stand firm on her terms has reportedly shifted conversations throughout the music industry about what the NFL can reasonably expect from its top-tier headliners. As news of the stalled negotiations spread, those close to the situation explained that Swift's team had made clear from the outset that she was not interested in the exposure-based compensation model, and that any agreement would need to reflect the unique leverage she brings as one of the world's most influential performers, whose tours and album releases regularly shatter records and dominate global headlines, reminding everyone of her unparalleled popularity. Subscribe for more updates on the biggest music stories as they break. When approached for comment, NFL representatives declined to discuss the details of their conversations with Swift, reiterating only that they continue to seek the right artist for the halftime performance, while Swift's representatives did not respond to requests for comment, leaving fans and industry observers to speculate about what might have been if the two sides had been able to reach an agreement. Those familiar with the negotiations said that Swift's insistence on full ownership rights was a sticking point, as the NFL has typically retained control over the broadcast and recording of halftime shows, and her additional request for dedicated advertising time during the broadcast was unprecedented, with one executive describing it as a bold and innovative ask that reflected the shifting power dynamics between artists and event organizers in the streaming era. The insider noted that Swift's team had been inspired by the changing landscape of music promotion, where artists now seek to maximize their control over content and revenue streams, and that her willingness to walk away from such a high-profile opportunity demonstrated her confidence in her own brand and reach. Another source familiar with the talks explained that the NFL is keenly aware of the value a superstar like Swift could bring to the halftime show, but that the league was not prepared to set a new precedent by granting performance ownership or commercial airtime, fearing it would open the door to similar demands from future headliners. Still, some in the music business believe that Swift's hard line has already influenced how other major acts will approach negotiations with the NFL going forward, with one artist manager commenting, "Taylor just showed everyone you don't have to play by the old rules if you're big enough." Subscribe for more inside stories from the entertainment world. As the fallout from the failed negotiations continued, industry experts debated what Swift's decision might mean for the Super Bowl halftime show's future, with one source noting that the league has long relied on the allure of exposure to attract top talent, but that the balance of power is now shifting as superstar artists recognize their unique ability to drive ratings and social media buzz. Many pointed out that Swift's global fan base, known as the Swifties, would have brought unprecedented energy and attention to the broadcast, potentially breaking viewership records and sparking viral moments across platforms, and that her absence from the lineup will be keenly felt by both the NFL and advertisers hoping to capitalize on her mass appeal. The story of the negotiations quickly became a hot topic among fans and music industry insiders, with some applauding Swift for standing her ground, while others wondered if the NFL would eventually reconsider its stance in the face of mounting pressure to secure a marquee headliner. Those close to Swift described her as unwavering in her commitment to maintaining control over her art and career, with one confidant saying, "Taylor isn't afraid to walk away from the table if she's not getting what she deserves," and noting that her ability to command such attention only strengthens her negotiating position for future opportunities. As the search for a new halftime performer continued, rumors swirled about which artists might be in contention, with some sources suggesting that the NFL may now face greater scrutiny from both artists and fans about how it compensates and supports its halftime headliners. Industry observers noted that Swift's decision has sparked a broader conversation about the value of music performances at major sporting events, and whether the tradition of offering only exposure in exchange for global visibility is still viable in an era where top artists can reach massive audiences on their own terms. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next big entertainment scoop. Others in the business pointed out that Swift's position is unique given her global status and success, with one executive stating, "She's in a league of her own, and she knows it," adding that few artists have the clout to make such demands and walk away if they are not met. Still, some predicted that more musicians would feel empowered to ask for better deals in light of Swift's example, especially as the music industry continues to evolve and artists increasingly prioritize ownership and creative control. The fallout from the failed talks also sparked debate among fans, some of whom took to social media to express disappointment that Swift would not be gracing the Super Bowl stage, while others supported her decision to hold out for a deal that matched her worth, reflecting the deep loyalty she inspires among her audience. Throughout the discussions, those close to the situation emphasized that Swift never saw the Super Bowl as a necessary platform for her career, given her existing reach and influence, and that her willingness to walk away was a reflection of her confidence rather than a missed opportunity. As news outlets picked up the story, music industry insiders weighed in on what it might mean for future halftime shows, with some speculating that the NFL could eventually be forced to change its compensation model if it wants to continue attracting the world's top musical acts. Others noted that the league's reluctance to grant ownership or commercial concessions was rooted in a desire to maintain control over its most watched event, and that any shift in policy would have far-reaching implications for entertainment partnerships beyond just the Super Bowl. The back and forth between Swift and the NFL also highlighted the growing trend of artists taking a more business-like approach to high-profile appearances, seeking to leverage their personal brands and fan bases for greater control and long-term value, rather than relying solely on exposure or traditional metrics of success. For now, it remains unclear whether the NFL will revisit its stance or if another artist will be chosen to headline the halftime show. But the story has already left a lasting impact on both the music and sports worlds, prompting ongoing conversations about value, respect, and the evolving relationship between artists and major event organizers. As the news cycle moved forward, some in the entertainment industry speculated that Swift's decision could open the door for new kinds of partnerships between artists and brands, where musicians have greater say over how their performances are used and promoted, and where the traditional model of trading exposure for content may give way to more equitable arrangements. Others suggested that the Super Bowl halftime show, long considered the pinnacle of live music exposure, may need to adapt to the realities of a changing industry, where artists like Swift can command global attention on their own terms and are less willing to accept deals that do not reflect their true value. In the meantime, fans continue to debate the merits of Swift's stance, with some arguing that she set an important precedent for artist empowerment, while others lament the missed opportunity to see one of the world's biggest stars take the stage at the year's most-watched television event. As both sides consider their next moves, The legacy of these negotiations is likely to influence how major artists and organizations approach high-profile collaborations in the years to come, ensuring that the conversation about fair compensation and creative control remains at the forefront of the entertainment industry. This story will be closely watched by artists, managers, and event organizers alike, as they navigate the shifting landscape of music promotion and performance in the digital age, where the lines between exposure, ownership, and value continue to blur. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. Taylor Swift's decision to walk away from the Super Bowl halftime show has already altered the conversation about what artists can and should expect from the world's biggest stages, and her bold stance is likely to have ripple effects far beyond this year's event. Stay tuned for more updates as the story develops, and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest music industry news and insights.